Hello hombres, my name's L.A.zy and welcome to the small update video. As you may have noticed that I've been kind of inactive for a couple of weeks now. I have a solid reason for that because you see what happened is a couple of weeks ago my computer components fried out. It was the power block and the hard drive. What happened is a cluster of dust gathered around some parts of the computer that haven't been cleaned for a couple of years, and that kind of resolved in the power block and hard drive burning out completely. I was without a PC for a couple of days, but thankfully my brother-in-law managed to find replacements for those parts. I paid for them, and now my PC runs without problems on Windows 10. But at the same time, with losing my hard drive, I lost absolutely all of my files, including all of my emulators. I had a couple of good games on the emulators as well. I had a Dolphin emulator and a PlayStation 1 emulator, and on those emulators I had the following games: Resident Evils 2, 3, and Code Veronica, as well as Eternal Darkness, and one of my favorite childhood games for Mission 3 as well on them. I've been kind of taking these couple of weeks to try and recover any programs that I might need for recording videos. Right now I'm kind of having problems with webcam recorder. I was trying to get my Windows Movie Maker recording software back up and running, but unfortunately it's kind of glitching out on me, so I'm using NCH software for recording any videos. So I'm hoping everything goes well because I'm planning to return to updating my channel in the next following weeks. As soon as I get everything back in order. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to do from my update side. And for another side, I want to talk about my relationship with video games as a whole. I think I've spoken on many videos that I absolutely love video games. I love the narrative, the interactability with the character story they provide, but I don't think I've ever went into complete depth on how much my love for video games actually went. So here's what I decided why not use this video talk about it. The very first video game console I had, I don't remember what it was called. I think it was the Atari. It actually had a joystick for a controller, and I remember that was my very first console. And the games we had on it, Space Invader, tennis, we used to play that all the time with my sister and my dad, and it was a freaking blast. I remember the very first time I laid my eyes on a video game, it blew me away completely. What the heck is this? I can interact with this controller. What am I playing? What was this magical trick? And that's where my first love for video games actually sprouted. I was about 5 years at the time, but seeing this game in person and playing it ignited something in me that made me love this specific piece of digital entertainment. And I thought that games would never get better than that. But as years passed, as I became older, I would be constantly disproving that fact. For example, many years down the line, there was a better console we had, well, a little bit better, and we had yellow diskettes for it. Those diskettes contain many collections of video games in them. Among my favorites on those diskettes were Bubble Bobble, Power Rangers, Amagon, Mario. Who didn't love Mario back then? The very first Mario game. There are way too many games to count, but those kind of games had more to them than what my previous console could provide, and the collections of games kept me entertained for hours and hours. I had that console for a couple of years ago, and I thought nothing could top it. I was at the age where I thought, okay, this is the pinnacle of video games. I don't think anything can surpass it. And I was disproven. A couple of years later, I was visiting my auntie for her birthday, and she showed me the console she was holding, but none of her kids were playing it. It was the PlayStation 1. That was my first foray into 3D gaming, and with that console came a very special game that became close to my heart: Crash Bandicoot Warped. At that time, I had no idea it was the third Crash Bandicoot game because I had no idea how sequels worked. But I remember booting it up, playing the levels on it, and I was astonished beyond like any description. It's like, oh my god, like this is the new height for the video games. There's no way they're gonna go to that. I remember playing it for so damn long, getting like so immersed into the game that my parents literally had to peel me off from the screen just to get me home with them. Uh, and later down the line, I got my own PlayStation 1 with my own like selection of games. One of them were Diablo from Mission 3. I remember owning Tekken as well, and also, like I had that problem back at my auntie's house. I couldn't get peeled off from those games. I got so addicted, so immersed into those games. My parents literally had to put a ban, like, for me from playing video games because it was interfering with my school life as well. But even then, that didn't stop me. I would just like sneak out and just play the video games while my parents were asleep. Oh, I remember those, man. Those were the good old days. Yeah, very good old days. And then a couple of years more down the line, I think it was a year after like the PlayStation 1 ended its cycle, I think, I got myself a PlayStation 2. And that game, again, ended up blowing my mind away because like the graphics were way better than the PlayStation 1. Like the controls for some games were very, very intuitive. And like overall, the PlayStation itself like looked so damn cool. It was sleek, small, and like the way it like spat out like the disc slot that you would, well, not exactly that, just like damn, how can I even explain this? It just looked so damn futuristic, like small, sleek, like this is the video game console of the future. I remember playing the PlayStation 2, that was a bigger version. I think that was the original version. And then later down the line, we got ourselves a different copy of the PlayStation 2 console. Um, Nevertheless, we got that console, a couple of good games, a couple of awesome games, some mediocre games as well. But our PlayStation 2 library was a bit substantial. It would take a whole day to count how many games I had, but like the absolute classics that I remember were Crash Twinsanity, God of War 1 and 2, Resident Evil 4, Code Veronica, Outbreak. I remember owning all the Call of Duty like games, like the original trilogy from Finest Hour to Call of Duty 3. And boy, that console was like the longest console we had, even up until I left to UK. And it was a year after I'd been in the UK that our PlayStation 2 console unfortunately met its demise. It just practically burned out beyond any repair. And during that year, I actually took the time to amass a small amount of money, head back to Lithuania, and buy myself a PlayStation 3. But unfortunately, I bought it like right up in the end of the cycle, so I was kind of a bit late to the party pretty much. But I did buy all the games that I want pretty much playing. That I saw gameplays of on YouTube, but watching gameplay on YouTube and playing the game for yourself is a completely different experience. That much I can tell you. The games I got were like pretty much all the critically acclaimed ones. I got Metal Gear Solid 4, Red Dead Redemption, God of War 3, Tekken 6. Nathan Drake trilogy, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 5, you name it. And playing this awesome like console finally like in my hands, the PlayStation 3 controller in my hands, I finally had it. And playing it like in the flesh was like a freaking dream come true. And just wow. And when I saw the PlayStation 4 the first time, I was kind of like mad about it because there weren't like many like games that stood out to me pretty much. But over the time, as it became gaming, like more like good games, more proper Sony exclusives, I knew that was another console I would want to get if I ever get the money. I mean, I have a plasma screen TV hanging around my room, but if I ever get that console with me, I will install the TV so it could work, hook my console to it, and play it all to my heart's content. For example, the God of War game that was released this year and the Spider-Man game as well. I would love to play those. What I'm basically trying to say is when I first saw video games They at first proved to be an absolute endless form of entertainment for me. And as years passed, as I became older, and as the game started to change, games started telling like more complex stories, giving me more complex characters. I couldn't help but feel myself in so much like bliss, like controlling that character, like deciding the fate of him, seeing where his next adventure like goes. Um, when a game grips me with its story and with its characters, that's where it's absolutely at. That's what From Mission 3 did for me, what Undertale did for me, and those two games pretty much like reaffirmed my absolute love for the video game as an entertainment media as a whole, and also considering at which point in my life I am now, it has also worked as a brilliant form of an escape because my life more often than not doesn't go the way I want it to. Whenever I solve one problem, another one appears, and it's just so damn frustrating. So frustrating that you're ready to pull your damn hair out. And video games like provide me an escape, provides me with characters that I can relate to, provides me with a storyline that I can connect with at some point, and offers me unforgettable moments, like unforgettable moments after unforgettable moments, and I can always return to them to at least push my doubts, all my sadness, like back into like myself, and push them to the back of my head so they can be worried about later, and I can worry about what's like going on in the video game world that I'm playing out with right now. Uh, may sound kind of cheesy enough, but I guess maybe if you ask most people about it, maybe they'll say the same thing, maybe they'll phrase it in another way, but that's how I mostly feel about video games. That's how I feel about like posting video games on YouTube, mostly my let's plays of it. Since I play such a variety of games, they give me such a different experience every time, with so many different characters for me to care about, so many different characters for me to control, with so many stories and so many worlds to like to visit. Every time it gives me like a different sense of awe, and even though uh, emotionally I may not look like it, but on the inside, like it really gives me that proper like sense of like glee. How can I put this? I mean, like whenever I spot an interesting video game and I see the story, characters, and then when I play it for myself, I just can't help but glee because it's so entertaining. The world itself is interesting. The characters have all these amazing backstories that make me want to just, if they ever existed, to come up to them and ask them like about that certain detail in their lives, even though that may annoy them for a little bit. That's pretty much how I feel about video games. They're an awesome escape from like what the reality of life can throw at you, and I can't help but like thank video games as a whole for that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say for this video. Uh, I want to apologize again that I couldn't update my situation any earlier and keeping you guys in the dark for such long this. I also wanted to do this video way earlier, way in the morning. I mean, it's like almost 9 o'clock back where I live, but I ended up sleeping for most of the day because I'm not working currently. I don't know if I ever like will come back to my job again, but nevertheless, at least I'm doing this update video now to tell you guys like what's going on in my life, and to give you guys like an insight of like what's going on in my head in regards to video games and just my life as a whole. So that's it for this little rant of mine, and let's start with the outro already. So thank you guys again who listened, who watched this little video of mine. Thank you again who stuck around on my channel, and thank you for any new subscribers who subscribed. If I'm not entertaining, I apologize. I really don't know how can I be any more entertaining. I just do this because I love doing this. But those who stuck around with me, thank you so very much, because I am so grateful. I don't get that many subscribers at all, and like getting a new one every month at least is like something so awesome to look forward to. So yeah, without further ado, that's it for this video. I thank you all I thank you all so very much who watched and listened to me ramble. And hopefully, I will see you all next time. Bye bye.